Ladies and gentlemen, I am not getting any sound on TikTok right now. I'm going to figure that out in a couple of seconds here. But you are listening to For the Fan, episode number 153. As always, I am Will, and we got Jake and Dom here. Gentlemen, hello.
What's up?
What's up?
There we go. We got sound. It's back. We're there. I'm going to turn that up, and I'm going to turn that down. And boom, we got sound again on TikTok. And just like the ban that lasted a whole 14 hours, we survived what? Y2K, the bird flu, the first COVID in 2002, another COVID. I don't even know what other natural disasters. Superstorm Sandy. There was a couple big snowstorms that's happened in our lifetime. We've survived a lot, and we're here. Yeah. Hey, we survived the great TikTok outage of 2025. We're here. We're back. We're back after no adventures to Red Note. I don't really know if we could do that, but we're back. We are able to talk football on here. You can follow us on all these great platforms. Let's get the banner up down below here. YouTube for the Fan Network, TikTok for the Fan Network, X for the Fan _ and Instagram for the Fan Football. We got Bill Sports in here. Go Bills, as he says here. You might want to stick around for the picks here because they might be a little shocking. But yes, divisional weekend, probably the best weekend in all of sports. It's honestly the most competitive weekend in all of football, especially playoffs. Really beat out what the wild card gave us. And it was all four really great matchups. All were close, except for one. But, we'll talk about the one in a couple of minutes. But beginner thoughts, though, on that. Good, bad, meh, thumb rating.
For what?
How the weekend was. You give a thumbs up in the middle, down below.
Snow. We got snow this weekend in a playoff game, in multiple playoff games, and I don't think anyone gets disappointed when playoff football is played in the snow. So I think that was probably, in a very general sense, a highlight for this weekend, for sure, because snow are fun. And like the Eagles game, I love when a game starts completely green field, like just immaculate looking field. And then like, by one quarter, it's like just white completely from snow. I love that. I love when games start just in the best fashion, like in the best conditions. And then boom, by the time it gets to some other quarter, it's just inches of snow. So that's always a good time to me. I love a good snow during a game. And Bills stay with snow. It's like every time.
It's cold and snowy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to get into it right now. You are listening to For the Fan.
You are listening to For the Fan.
And here we go. We'll be joined by Colt in a couple of minutes. He's making a phone call. Who knows what? Maybe he's trying to call the Steelers to fire Tomlin or something. Wouldn't be surprised. But let's talk about some coaching news because now we have two dominoes in the coaching world that's fallen. With the Lions' really surprising loss to the Commanders on Saturday night, we now have two new head coaches. Ben Johnson now goes to the Bears and Aaron Glenn to the Jets. Aaron Glenn's a 5-year deal. I don't know the contract parameters of Ben Johnson yet, but I know pen to paper was made on Tuesday. He had his introductory press conference today. Obviously, there's a couple takeaways where he says, he always wanted to stay in the NFC North. It wasn't an option going anywhere else. Like Jacksonville, he was kind of favored in. Las Vegas, he was favored in, especially with Brady's ties with trying to find the next heir to the head coaching throne, general manager throne. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the Lions now who have been poached and are going to continue to be poached?
Yeah, the Patriots poached defensive line coach for their defensive coordinator from the Lions. So the Lions are definitely continuing to be poached, not just even the coordinator. So that's a valid point.
Do we think it's at all possible that this isn't that at least one of the two of them was a John Gannon situation where they was tampering?
I think it's very possible.
Why their performance was poor?
I mean, you can't really blame the defense on that because the Lions' defense was already so thin as it was. And then we saw another one of the corners just break his arm and just that was the end of it. I don't know, but running an end around pass play with Jamison Williams and throwing it right into Sandersfield's hands for an interception. I don't know. I feel that felt really questionable, but also it's Dan Campbell, who's like, okay, yeah, we got to have our balls on the ground. Can't do anything different here. Put them in a wheelbarrow. They're going to be massive after the game. Got to do dips and rip cigs, espresso, 10 coffees, the whole 10 yards.
Because like they got hired the next day, both of them.
Yeah, he went. Yeah, Ben Johnson went on a plane Monday. It was like official, like Monday, like afternoon that he was just like, oh, hey, he's getting, it's like, oh, Ben Johnson's penned the paper there. Aaron Glenn, he was with the Jets on Tuesday. Then he flew home, but he also said like he knew he wanted to be there, and he just wanted to go home and tell his family like, oh, hey, I'm doing this instead of just hearing like the news and all that stuff go out. So at least gives his family a heads up.
Did Glenn do the Saints interview?
He did a virtual interview. He was supposed to go down Wednesday, but since the 1 in a million year blizzard that happened in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, all up and down the Gulf Coast, like Pensacola, Florida, got like a foot of snow. Some parts of Louisiana had like a foot and a half. They weren't getting, they couldn't clear out anything to get that done. So yeah, but he did alert the Saints that he was like, oh, hey, like I'm not going in, not, taking the interview and all that stuff. Colton, you're here. What are your thoughts on the Lions being poached with coordinators? Do you have any fears that the Lions can't produce now without these two key pieces there that have been there with Campbell day one?
Produced in the postseason again, so it doesn't surprise me. But this is also like a year later than expected. So I guarantee they already had guys. They were already training in the wings here behind the scenes because, again, this was expected last season, at least with Ben Johnson, to lose him. So it doesn't surprise me that they're both poached, and I think they're going to be okay as far as recovering from this because, honestly, they had a year ahead of notice that, yeah, you're losing Ben Johnson at least. So I guarantee they had someone in the trading behind the scenes that is easily getting promoted with this. And Dan Campbell, even after his postgame, surely made it seem like he was expecting to lose both these guys. So I think they knew this was coming.
I think the funniest part to me is those random dudes doing the thing to Caleb Williams, like spamming or like doing the fake I'm Ben John, like I just want to just talk with you for a little bit before I actually get hired to the Bears. And then Caleb Williams like FaceTimes them, and it's just like two dudes just like having a good time as a joke. And then Ben Johnson actually goes to the Bears. So I mean, I think that's funny. And then I know I sent it. I either sent it to Jake and Will or just Jake. I think both of you. That Matt LaFleur in this, or not Matt LaFleur. Ben Johnson in the interview or interview, whatever you want to call it, press conference about getting hired, says that he really enjoys beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Well, I don't know how well that's going to age now that he's the Bears coach. I don't know, maybe if you should say that, but it's funny. But I don't know. But that situation's interesting and kind of funny to me. But I don't know. The Jets going with another defensive coach, I think, is questionable.
Mistake.
I mean, I saw a guy on Barstool. And it's like, yep, here we go, another first-time head coach. You could have gotten Brian Flores, who at least has head coaching experience. He could probably, take on the limelight of what New York has to offer with the media, which is not really the greatest thing, but at least you have a guy who's head coached at least a little bit, not another first-time guy. But you just gotta like wait and kind of see on it. Really, I think Steve Wilkes is the first guy that they're going to try getting on the roster as like defensive coordinator. So get a guy who's experienced. I don't know what the Bears are looking at, or if Ben Johnson's just going to poach more of the Lions guys and Aaron Glenn's going to poach the rest of them. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there with these two. But we do have the other part here that I got to mention. So we have 3 head coaching openings that were filled, which was the Patriots with Vrabel, now the Jets with Aaron Glenn, and then the Bears with Ben Johnson. Now we have 4 remaining openings, which now with these 2 dominoes falling, it kind of speeds up this process of who's going to be where for the next head coaching spot. So we have the Raiders, who I think are actively talking with Pete Carroll, but I'm not too sure how far that's going to go. Schottenheimer, the former Cowboys offensive coordinator who was with the Seahawks and the Jets for a little bit, he has a second interview, and he could be the next head coach of the Cowboys, but it's a wait to see kind of game there. The Saints with Aaron Glenn out, it looks like they could be going after Mike McCarthy, which will be a kind of a big get there with Mickey Loomis and him being buds. And with Liam Cohen pulling his name out of the Jaguars head coaching search, Robert Saleh is going to be flying down there Thursday night, and he could become the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's after they fired Trent Baalke at GM. So only 2 short weeks ago where Khan was having a end of season press conference, and he basically said, "Yeah, I can fire Baalke if I really want to. I'm just kind of keeping him around for right now." And he canned him only 3 hours ago. So some interesting pieces there. But I want to ask you guys, what do you think might be the next domino to fall in this head coaching search?
I feel like after you said all that, I feel like out of all of those, the Jags might sound like the one that seems the most sensical. The Saints doing Mike McCarthy, if that's what happens, I think that's wild. I feel like the Saints don't need a even remotely controversial head coach signing. And the Dallas. But I don't know. I don't know I bet you the Raiders one doesn't happen that soon. I really don't know what's going on over there. But
they just hired their GM there, so they hired the Buccaneers assistant GM Spytech, so which is fitting because Brady being the minority owner, spying and teching. You just need Belichick to be the head coach, and boof, it's just a full circle moment.
There you go.
Isn't it true that Belichick has not yet actually signed his deal with UNC?
That's the thing I've been seeing. He's not official pen to paper. I don't know if he even coached that bowl game that they had up in Boston. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
It was Freddie Kitchens, probably.
But again, out of all of those, I do think the Jags and Saleh might. That one sounds the most normal, most sensical to me. Like if he's actually going down there, that sounds kind of solid. That one might be the first of them, I guess. If I had to guess.
Yeah, it's probably Saleh. I think the rest of them are really going to get held up by what the Cowboys do. Because everyone, say what you will about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, it's the most money organization, so people are going to try and get that job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Might be one of the worst parts. You got to report to Jerry every day. You got to report to GM Jerry and owner Jerry.
Never said it was going to be the most fun job. Money.
Yeah, it's true.
What about you, Colton? Which opening do you think might get filled up first?
I got to tell you, I have zero idea. So I'm just going to take the one with your most information you gave me, and that's Jacksonville. So I'm jumping on with Dom. It's got to be Jacksonville because I don't know what the hell is going on with the rest of these teams, to be honest. By the way, conversation piece for next week or something. I don't think it should be allowed that these assistants are talking to these other coaches during the playoffs. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, the fact that you're entertaining other positions while you're, like, coaching. Like, I understand it from, from teams like the teams that are looking for head coaches. Like, I get that you want to do all these interviews and stuff because, like, say Ben Johnson has no interest in your team. Like, you feel that out where you have to wait to even hear from him. Like, I got that part of it, but, like, damn, they got to fix this whole thing because it's such a crap show. Like, I understand the concept of talking to these guys to at least get an idea so you're not blindsided. Where it's like, okay, you wait 3 weeks whenever they're out or the playoffs, whatever that team may be that you're interested in plugging someone from their staff. It's a disaster. The fact that you have Detroit out this early, and again, taking nothing away from the Commanders and what they've done, but geez, like these guys could have been looking at head coaching jobs and not really putting all their effort into their actual position right now. Like, it's just, it's a weird thing, and you can see it from both sides, to be honest. Like, I got it. Like, I just said it. Like, what if you're a team that was waiting on Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson had no interest in Chicago the whole time, but like Chicago sitting there like, oh, we're waiting on Ben Johnson, and say their second option was Mike Vrabel for crafts and gigs. Say that the Bears' second option was Mike Vrabel, but they're waiting on Ben Johnson, and Mike Vrabel already took the job, and they're like, dude, frig, we could have at least interviewed Mike Vrabel for the position. I believe they did. I'm just saying, like, say that wasn't the case. Just like that's they wanted Ben Johnson the whole time, but they have to wait, and then their second candidate that they had is gone because they have to wait. Like, I got having a brief conversation, but man, it looks terrible when both these guys are gone. Both had interviews. Like, same thing with Flores with Minnesota. Like, these guys are all interviewing. Like, they got to figure this out some way or another, because I could tell you, if I'm a fan of that team, especially a Detroit fan, like, were these guys like looking out the window already? Like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out already? Like, I got they probably are. Like, they're going to win a Super Bowl, possibly, but like, damn, head coaching job. Like, it's weird. It's weird. It's another conversation piece, possibly for next week or something. I don't know. It's just really weird.
It literally lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Jonathan Gannon was already hyped and was taking interviews while he was in Arizona for the Super Bowl, and that was the worst defensive performance we had all season.
They locked him in a small closet without the ability to watch any kind of tape on the game. They just said, you know what, no, you're staying in the facility. We're not letting you leave.
Yeah, right before you came on, Colton, we touched on the idea that maybe the interviews hurt Detroit in that game.
Yeah. And last week we said something about it. I think that was your sell.
That was my sell. My sell was the fell for the interviewing process.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the perfect fix is for it, but they got to figure it out. Either like do it like the weeks before. I don't know, man. It's such a weird thing. Like, what do you do? Like, no offense. Like, if you're firing your head coach, do it before week 18 so you can have the conversations. And like, that's it. As soon as the playoffs start, you cannot talk to these guys. So like, get your conversation. Like, I don't know. It's so messed up. Like, oh yeah, you're firing your coach before week 18. But like, the thing is, a lot of these coaches know. A lot of these organizations probably know they're firing these coaches, and it doesn't need one extra week to tell you that, oh yeah, we're definitely firing this guy. Like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know what the perfect thing is for it, but I can tell you it's not a great look when these guys are interviewing for positions and they're out and they're upsets that they probably shouldn't. Like, we're talking about Detroit. Another year, I got their banged up. Their defense was shot to crap. All the injuries, like, I got it. But this is a team that should and probably would have been in the Super Bowl last year if they don't have Dan Campbell, overthinking things and going for it every fourth down. Like, they're probably in the Super Bowl last year, and this is a team that's probably the favorites out of the NFC, and they're bounced by a rookie quarterback. Again, no shots at the Commanders. Incredible run. Can't wait to watch them again this weekend, but it's very bad look, at least, when you have both these coaches now plucked. I mean, not even a week after their loss. It's just, I don't know, man. They got to figure out the right system, because you got these guys, I think, looking 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door already. They still have a chance to win the Super Bowl, these coaches, but you also have a head coaching gig where it's like, okay, well, who's my assistant coaches? Like, because it's fast. Like, it's very fast before the drafts here, like combine. Like, you got to get your ducks in an order here. So
yeah,
they got to figure it out. I don't know.
Kellen Moore had an interview either Friday or Saturday, like late in the week, with Dallas before that game. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah, it's just the more you look at it, and like I said, it's a bad look when you got these guys out. And I'm pretty sure Minnesota had the same thing a week before. Like, it's not ideal. Like, I get it from the coach's standpoint. Like, they're not head coaches. I'm certainly going to listen to whoever else is asking for me for a promotion, where I get a, big step in my career. Like, I don't blame the coaches. I blame the system for allowing the interviews to happen during playoffs. Like, they got to figure it out. I can tell you it's a problem.
Yeah.
Some of the other assistant coaching news, as Dom said earlier, Terrell Williams, the Lions' defensive line coach, becomes the new DC in New England, and Josh McDaniels is officially rehired in his third stint as the New England Patriots head coach. And along with some other ones, the Bengals are finalizing a deal with Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, Al Golden, who was the linebackers coach for a few years there in the Bengals. He returns to the NFL, as the Bengals, who were one of the worst defenses in the league last year, but still, Trey Hendrickson, one of the bright spots, led the league in sacks in their respective position. He returns back to Cincinnati, where he still owns a home, per Adam Schefter, which I don't know why he needs to know that. Shifting gears, let's talk about the injury roundup here. So we're going to talk about two of the big ones with Jalen Hurts and Quinyon Mitchell. They both ended up practicing today. I'm not too sure what the capacity was of practice, but they did give it a go. They did practice. So a very positive sign for the Eagles as they are heading into their third matchup against the Commanders on Sunday. And I have to say it because Rappaport tweeted it. Patrick Mahomes was listed as a full participant despite an ankle injury. I know Jake is punching walls right now. He's over it. He's not dealing with it anymore.
He's not hurt.
So
He's not.
I have to just report it because it was on the thing here. I have to report it. If I could scroll down any more, there was another one here.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep
Cosmi.
on scrolling and scrolling. Yep, Sam Cosmi torn ACL. Really jeopardizes week 1 for him next season. He might not be coming back till probably November or early December. If you go off of how Tyler Higbee was, he tore his ACL at the beginning of the playoffs last year. He didn't return until week 16 against the Jets this year. So a very long gap there for the injuries there. And then the Bills update. Taylor Rapp, who injured his hip on a diving attempt to intercept the football late in the game against the Ravens, will not practice. Christian Benford remains in concussion protocol and will practice in limited fashion. Matt Milano, dealing with hamstring soreness, will practice limited as well. I think that is all that has to be said. Yeah. All that has to be said there for the injuries. And now I have to bring you guys the question that I've been asking every single week. What is your favorite moment from conference championship Sundays? Obviously not this Sunday, but it could be any Sunday for that matter.
Mine's just funny, so it's a throwaway.
You want to go first?
Yeah,
You
why
go
not?
first.
The quote from Evan McPherson in the Bengals Chiefs. We're in the overtime. He was like, well, I guess we're going to the Super Bowl. Just before he even gets on the field, he's just like, yep, drilling this. And it wasn't like a short kick either.
It's like 51, 49.
What was that?
51 or 49-yard kick. It had distance on it.
Yeah, it wasn't a chip shot. And he just like before he was even sent out there, it's like, I got this. Let's go.
No, I like that one.
It was just like funny because like that run was so fun too, along with it, of the Bengals.
And McPherson was like a contributor to their playoff games. Like he's the one that won me that bet in the wild card round where he kicked like he had so many points himself in that playoffs. But I'll keep the floor. I don't know if this is a favorite, but I for some reason this really sticks out to me. And I think I literally mentioned this to you last week or the week before because I remembered it. But it was a couple of years ago when the good Rams team, went to the Saints, went to New Orleans. In New Orleans, this was when Jared Goff was still young, and when McVay was making all the reads for him, like pre-play, and New Orleans was so loud that Goff couldn't hear McVay pre-play. So C.J. Anderson, veteran from the Broncos, the veteran running back, was in the backfield next to Goff the whole time, making the reads for Goff pre-play and helping Goff with so much of that. I don't know why that sticks out to me. It just really does because now Goff is this whole other quarterback. And that was just a really specific moment. You don't see that often when a veteran running back makes a difference like that in that way. It's just a cool moment, I think.
But wasn't that also the year like the exact time
The hit
gave up on him on
Probably.
Jared Goff and
Probably.
said, "Need we
it was during COVID where they had Sean Wolford.
Yeah.
He started week 17 and then he got like blasted in the playoff game against the Seahawks. Just like I don't know who hit him, but he knocked him out. And Jared Goff came in, saved the day, won the Seahawks. He won the Rams the game, not the Seahawks.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this was that also that game with the Saints, right, and the interference and whatnot. So like, there's that. But I don't know, just the veteran presence running back thing doing that. That was a pretty cool thing, and C.J. Anderson deserves that credit always. Good for him. But yeah, that's for some reason what came to my mind today. So right as we're in the show.
What about you, Colton? Favorite memories from a conference Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going homer pick here. Troy Polamalu intercepting Joe Flacco to send the Steelers to the Super Bowl. Ultimately to lose the game, but hey, what a game. Steelers, that was a back and forth game with the Ravens and Troy. I just had the call in my head still of him picking it off and running it all the way back for a touchdown to ice the game up for the Steelers. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason, Hall of Fame play. Shout out 43. So Troy Polamalu pick 6 against Joe Flacco to send the Steelers to the Super Bowl.
Huge.
Dom will appreciate this one. Billy Cundiff, most accurate kicker in NFL history. I don't even know where this was going. I don't know. Probably in the same harbor where all the tea went. That's definitely where it was going. So I don't know. That just like stands out to me. I could always pick all the Jets ones, but it's like, I don't really want to pick the Jets ones. I could pick, some other funny ones. And then the year 2011, Patriots lost to the Giants that year.
Yeah.
And then another one that sticks out to me. I found the highlights of it. I was watching on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it today. But Falcons Niners NFC Championship game. Falcons got out to like a 17-0 start and just didn't score another point after it. Niners just ran the score up as quickly as they could in Atlanta and just ended up winning. So that's another one. Another big choking lead there for the Falcons. So
gotta love it.
Let's shift into what happened this past weekend here. Which performances from the divisional round stood out to you?
I'll take the low-hanging fruit of the Commies and Jaden Daniels. Kid's a real deal, man. We talk about quarterbacks changing franchises. He's changed that franchise dramatically. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you, I guarantee outside of the Giants, the Commanders are probably your chalk pick for coming in 3rd or 4th place in this division. He's throwing to nobody. Like if I were to name you the number 2 and number 3 receivers on this roster, you would think they're playing in like China. Like I always think of like the TNT crew and like they just name random NBA players.
The Shanghai Sharks.
Yes, Shanghai Sharks. Like what name? And I just think of Shaq. Ni hao. Like it just these guys are playing in some random team. Like, but that's the point. Like Diami Brown. I don't even think I'm saying his name right. Diami Brown. I'm definitely butchering it. And then Zacchaeus. Like you would never know those are the number 2 and number 3 receivers on this team, along with old Zach Ertz. Like what they're doing in Washington is incredible, and Jaden Daniels has changed this franchise dramatically. So shout out to Jaden Daniels and what he's done.
I'm pretty sure that's straight up Noah Brown from Dallas and from.
No, it's not Noah Brown.
Noah Brown's on there.
It's not him though. It's not him.
I think Noah Brown's hurt. It's Diami Brown.
Diami Brown.
Yeah.
And then Olamide Zacchaeus.
I know Noah Brown was the guy earlier. That's not who it is. That's not who I'm thinking of.
And Luke McCaffrey's in that receiving core too, and he's not really used.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm kind of gonna piggyback up off of that a little bit because I will say, listen, I have no expectations for them in this game right now. Like going forward, no rookie quarterback has made it to the Super Bowl. We've talked about that before we even started the show. Like that's okay, cool. The fact they've gotten this far, super freaking substantial, dude. And I understand Detroit, very hurt. I don't care who you are. If you hang 45 points in a playoff game that really matters like that, I think that's really substantial. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the matchup is. That matters to me. And just the fact that it is a rookie quarterback, the Dan Quinn factor, like everything there for like a year where this is ultimately a brand new team, period. There's no really carryover. Maybe, Brian Robinson, maybe some defense. But either way, like super, super substantial for Washington. Really awesome for them. Again, this is a situation where we'll ask the question when we did the preview, what makes this season successful? We're beyond that now. Like, this season is a successful season for the Washington Commanders, or whatever name they are next year. So maybe,
The Skins.
Hopefully they go back to the football team.
Back to the Skins.
or the
Actually,
have-
then that cardboard cutout would be nothing, and then my rally towel, NFC East champion football team, would just be pointless. So I don't want them to go back to the football team.
but yeah, no. So you know what? Good for them. Like, this is a successful season. It's written. You're good. I don't care what happens going forward. Good for them. This is a team that we talk about next year in a way different light. Cool. So that's kind of what I want to say about it. Because the other games are the other games. Like, Jake can say what he wants to say. I wasn't gonna take that one from him. If he wants to do it. But
No, I wasn't gonna go with the Commanders because I knew somebody.
no,
would
not
do it.
that.
What?
I thought you were going Eagles and like Saquon and stuff.
No, you know,
Okay.
I mean, I would love. There's a lot of things.
The
I love.
shades of shady.
Exactly. That's the stat lines were identical.
Yeah.
Shady like called him and gave him like the tips on what to do with the shoes, like his cleats, like what spikes to use, and
Pretty
it
cool.
was a whole fun thing. But what I was gonna do is what stood out to me, and it's not for I guess not really a positive standout. The fact that the Texans won every stat and lost the game. They got their third down. They had more first downs. They had more rush yards. They had more pass yards. They had like more time possession and lost. How is it even possible?
Like, piggybacking off of your thing, but I saw the thing where it's like, oh, like all the teams that were what was it? They all led like the game in like yards. So like the Texans, the Chiefs, the Rams, then the Ravens, they all led the game in like total yards in the game, and they just ended up like flopping.
But see,
They all ended up losing.
all the other ones, at least the other team won a turnover battle. There were no picks, no lost fumbles in this game.
Did the Commanders punt at all in that game? I was too stressing about the TikTok ban to even like notice it. I don't think they did. They went for on like fourth down like a lot more than the Lions did, and they were a lot more successful than what Dan Campbell was like used to.
3 for 4 versus 2 for 2.
Damn.
Commanders versus Lions.
3 is more than 2. So
Well, if the Mariota thing worked out, I mean that would have been cool to see, but it ended up flopping, and I'm like, oh, that's where the Commanders lose.
that was bad. That was kind of dumb. Like, that was all right. I could have done without that one, dude.
I don't really know what was going to happen there. Maybe they could run it in practice and show us,
Yeah.
or they could do it against the Eagles and do it correctly. Who knows?
I don't think that'll work.
I don't really know the performance I want to pick out, but like, I mean, I may as well pick the other low-hanging fruit, which is the battle of the MVP quarterbacks, which is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, how that game kind of like floundered. Oh, you hear about MVP this, MVP that, and it's just like it didn't really live up to the hype in the quarterback spot. Like Josh Allen had like 120 passing yards and like 2 touchdowns. Lamar had 2 passing touchdowns and like 180 passing yards. It wasn't anything like boast home about.
I mean, we saw playoff Lamar that we know that the narrative he's trying to break actively, and then it's just there it was, dude. 2 of some of the worst turnovers I've ever in the playoffs. Like, that's on you, dude. It just
Mark Andrews, though, he's a bum. I can't believe I drafted him in fantasy. I remember looking at the big board. I'm like, oh, I kind of want McBride. Oh, I want Kittle. And I saw Mark Andrews, and I'm like, I've never had Mark Andrews. This is going to be awesome. Worst experience ever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel bad for Mark Andrews with the drops, and that's where a lot of the blame is going to go. I agree with Dom. Lamar. Like the turnovers, and they're bad turnovers, like the fumble with the Von Miller pick. Like, dude, that cannot happen. Like, you already had a bad snap. I got it. It's a bad snap. Use your legs, run away, throw the ball away. Instead, you try to make a home run play in the playoffs, which the home run play never works. Just eat the down, something. Instead, you fumble the ball away. Like, the turnovers at Lamar, it's a problem. I was gonna say like later on the losers before we get there, like the Ravens, they have a Lamar problem. They have a Lamar problem. Like I don't know what to say. Like I feel bad for the guy, even though I don't because I'm a Steeler fan. Like I don't feel bad for him. But they have a Lamar Jackson problem. I don't know what it is, but this guy and turning the ball over in big games, like I got the numbers he had this season. I think he had like 5 picks on the season. Like it was a crazy number for Lamar. Like he's played better, but like in the big spot, he turns the ball over. Like I don't know what to say about him. They have a Lamar Jackson problem, which is hard to say because the guy's going to be a multiple-time MVP, might win it again this year. Like, but they have a Lamar Jackson problem, which is it's insane to say it with the guy that's won the MVP this many times and is in the running again for it.
Can we talk about that 2-point play that they've run multiple times to Mark Andrews that he's either dropped or not gotten open on? Like more than once, they've gone to that exact same thing. Instead of going to Derrick Henry, they go to
that. Might be like the only thing that they have under like the 2-point conversion there on like the playlist. It's just that's like the one play that they have.
Because Mark Andrews they've in that exact situation, they've ran it 3 times, the exact play.
They ran it against the Steelers.
And then
did they do it early in the third quarter of that game too?
Could be wild.
I don't know if they ran it in the third quarter of that game.
Fact, they did not turn to Derrick Henry They did not turn to Derrick Henry for a single 2 conversion this entire season, which blows my mind because I feel like that's guaranteed yards. It's been guaranteed yards all season. So it's like, I don't know, man. There's some decisions in Baltimore that were borderline irresponsible, whether they were during a play by Lamar. I mean, that fumble wasn't a you got hit, you fumble in an action sequence. That was you made a really irresponsible choice, like that you shouldn't be making. And then those play calls, the 2-point, it's just feel like there's some stupid things there, man. There's some questionable stuff going on in Baltimore. It's unfortunate because, like Colton's saying, Lamar's done a decent job of breaking the narrative a little bit this year. Whether he's been a little extra conservative with the ball and not taking those risks, that's okay, whatever, because it's worked. Like, okay, that's fine, dude. Responsible is better than irresponsible. But, like,
no, it's
the narrative.
It's more than that, though, because I know I went over it with you at gym once. Yes, he's not throwing picks.
Yeah.
But he's taking sacks because he's being so gun-shy to throw picks. So if anyone's around the ball, he's holding it that extra second and taking sacks. It's why he lost to us. Like why the Eagles beat them is we were able to get to Lamar because he was gun-shy.
But you know what? I'd still rather you take a sack.
Yeah, but I'd rather that, though. The thing is, if he takes that sack instead of the fumble of him trying to hit a home run, it's hard to complain. It's just when it's that big spot, the big turnover happens. I got it. Everyone sees it's a shit snap. You don't have to try to play hero ball. Just go down and live for another down. You have Justin Tucker. Try to get back 10 yards on the next play. Instead, you cough the ball up. I agree with you. He has gotten conservative, but then you look at the Chiefs game opening weekend. They just miss winning the game on his cleats being an inch in the wrong color. They played really well, Baltimore, this year, and there should have been other games that they won. No offense to Steelers, the first time they played the Steelers, they got away from the run game, which was asinine from the Ravens. And there's been a few games this year where they've gotten away from Derrick Henry too early. I thought they did it again Sunday. They got away from Henry too early. I don't know. It's a Lamar problem. I say that because of the turnovers, which, again, I got it. America saw the snap. It's not ideal. That's not a good exchange to Lamar, but no one's going to blame you if you just go down instead of doing what you did, trying to make a big play and you fumble the football.
I want to shift gears here. We got 3 more NFL games, 4 if you want to include the flag football game that happens in 2 weeks. I know, Dom is going to be eagerly watching that game. I know he's a big flag football guy. But with the NFL ending, where are you pointing your eyes to, shifting your full focus on in the sports world?
I can't believe you just asked this. This is such a weird question.
I know
me.
the Lakers, LeBron, AD. Oh my God, whoever the other white guy is at like point guard or whatever.
AR 15 baby Austin Reeves, but no, I am fully investing my time in the soccer and footy. Of course, some NHL, Devils, and of course I'll be watching. I'll be watching everything. Honestly, this is an awful answer for me because I'm just naming you everything under the sun. So like I'm huge into Michigan hoops, so everything else I'll be investing. Everything else but baseball. Let's just put that there. Everything but baseball. How about that?
Well, I certainly will not be watching the Josh Harris owned team. Yeah, this is usually where I fully invest in hockey. And the Flyers kind of are getting things together, maybe for once.
I was gonna hype up, watching like hockey and like college basketball. I open up ESPN because I wanted to like look at like the schedules ahead, and then I just see up the Miami Heat are gonna suspend Jimmy Butler again. Again, like he was only suspended 7 games. They're gonna put another 2 on him.
He really doesn't like being like.
That's waiting to get him traded. I don't know what the hell they're doing. He's just being such a child. Like I hate that these athletes, like, good for the Miami Heat suspending them. Like, my man, you're making a paycheck. Like, congratulations, you picked Miami. No one picked it for you. You picked the Heat. They're not playing well now, but you not playing is not helping the cause. He wants to get traded very desperately, and he's acting like a child. Good on the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, and those guys not giving him what he wants. So, I mean, when the right decision comes for them as far as package goes, they're going to deal him. But they're not getting bent over backwards to deal him because he wants to get dealt. So good for the Miami Heat.
The Capitals are the number 1 team in the National Hockey League. No one expected it. We're happy. Watched them win last night. It's always a good time. They're on an absolute tear. They've been on an absolute tear. Ovechkin getting to Wayne Gretzky's record is prime time sports in 2025, and that is what I'm here for. So once football's over, depending on what football is after this weekend, my focus is completely shifted to one of the biggest sportsmen in the history of the major sports, and that would be hopefully Ovechkin reaching pretty much 900 goals. So that's what I'm here for.
I'm going to piggyback off of Jake. Flyers, hopefully they get stuff together. Hopefully Torts, can, keep the ship afloat a little bit longer. But I'm a little eager to watch some Maryland basketball. Haven't been able to watch a whole lot this year. But hopefully they can get something together with that dumbass Kevin Willard at head coach. And if not, they can, ship his ass out somewhere. I can't stand this guy. He sucked at Seton Hall, and he sucks again. Bring back Mark Turgeon. That's all I'm going to say on the college world there. Or maybe bring in Jake Plummer, Arizona State's head coach in a dynasty in NCAA 25. Another good guy from there.
To wrap up this point, because as we all know, Josh Harris owns the Sixers and the Commanders.
And the Devils.
So don't forget you son of a bitch. Don't you forget the Devils.
Conversation.
No.
Someone went around on a bike tour around Philadelphia yesterday or the day before with a sign that said it was something about the Sixers record and like basically F you, Josh Harris.
Good.
Well, I mean, when Embiid's, not playing because he has a nosebleed for like 3 weeks, like
I have zero desire to talk about basketball. That's just the dumbest sport to me. Because
hey, our friend Jason Max Tyrese Maxey today. He helped change his phone number.
I asked if he was going to frame the tip he got because it came Josh Harris. But he is a Devils fan.
And Chris Harris Jr., apparently. He also met. Oh, that's hard to see.
All right. Well, that's so much for that.
I don't think my camera focuses that close to it. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's clear.
Now let's go game of the week here. Only 4 games to pick from, but which one stood out to you guys the most from the divisional round?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens, Bills. It was like a lot of these games were kind of ugly, like except for Houston early. I'm going to go with the Bills Ravens. The fact that it got that good at the end, where we almost had a tie game with not much time left. But yeah, that's probably the low hanging fruit. By the way, screw the officials in the Mahomes wagon. Dude, I'm telling you, the penalties in that Houston game were diabolical. Diabolical. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was saying without saying with my stand-up performance of the week because Texans were better in every single stat.
Isn't that crazy though? Weren't a lot of the games the team that was it every single game that the team with the most total yards lost this week? Was that every game?
Yeah, every game.
Incredible.
That's it. That is incredible. That is incredible, honestly. Wow. I'm going to go with, and I kind of said it earlier, I'm going to go with the Eagles-Rams because there is nothing I love more than a game that starts in great conditions, green fields, looks immaculate, and then at some point in time, you watch highlights, and it's like you're watching two different games entirely because Randy, it's pure white all over the field. Like, it looks like it had been snowing for a very long time, but it was only an hour. I love games that make that huge transformation over the course of the game. That's absolutely my favorite.
Snow games just the best.
Snow games are just, and that's what I was saying in the beginning. I think right before you hopped on, Colton, is like there is nothing better than snow playoff games. Nothing. That is just raw football in the playoffs at its absolute finest. No one says no. So yeah.
It's hard. Like, I get it. The product's just not good. It's just that's the only thing. Like, I got it. That's what football is. But then, like, you see the Super Bowl, and it's not that at all. Like, it's a perfectly great environment. Like, no wind, no nothing, no rain, no snow. Like, I got it. Like, it's hard saying that. It definitely has its advantages, and it definitely favored the Eagles. I can tell you that. The weather definitely favored Philly. Saquon Barkley had no issues running the football where Kyron Williams really couldn't get going. He had an awful fumble. Like, it favors the teams, man. That's why, like, home field and getting that higher seed matters. So, like, I'll give it to that. But I'm not – and by the way, this is not me saying that we need to play neutral site games for the playoffs. This is not at all what I'm saying. But it's – I won't say it's bad on the eye. It's definitely fun watching snow games, but it's just not as exciting. Like, it's just not like you're seeing the teams go up and down the field, these offenses. No. But, hey, man, there's a reason that you're a higher seed. There's a favoritism to it, and that's why I think Philly was gunning. That's what sucked with Jalen Hurts getting hurt. It didn't matter anyway. They ended up getting home field in the NFC Championship game either way you slice it. But that's why they really wanted it, so they can get Detroit out of the dome and get Detroit in the weather in Philly, which we saw Jared Goff not be able to play in the cold when he was in LA. So good on the Eagles taking advantage of the weather, but they showed a lot of life late, the Rams, which was nice. But by the way, where the hell did Cooper Kupp go? Like, they have to move on from Cooper Kupp at the end of the season, right? He's been irrelevant the last 8 weeks.
Apparently,
ever since the Patriots game,
he's been irrelevant.
Well, Kendrick Bourne out there trying to Cup to the Patriots. So
you're getting Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think
you guys are signing T. Higgins.
And Tyreek.
Thank you, but thank you.
My game of the week, I'll just pick the other low-hanging fruit, Commanders and Lions. It was just an electric second quarter all around. You couldn't have asked for anything better. I thought it was a great game all around. Despite my world ending with TikTok, I couldn't post any clips on there. So, yeah, that was that's my choice for game of the week.
No, it was a good weekend for attention to For the Fan on TikTok. I will say, despite the ban, we did pull like 50K.
It was our best weekend like ever.
Yeah, so we did a good job this weekend despite the ban. We'll killed Sunday. So. Yeah. You battle through.
Shall I move on to everyone's favorite topic of the week?
Do it.
Everyone's topical day. Buy, sell, and hold. Divisional round. Gentlemen, where are you going with your buys this week?
I'm buying the guy I've bought all day, so I'm just going to keep it short and simple. Jaden Daniels, real deal, folks. Change franchises.
I don't really have one. Like the Bills are just, I feel like this is their year to get to the Super Bowl. That's just where I'm going to go with that.
I'm going to buy Saquon. Just dudes, come on, man. Nuts. Like, there's no narrative to say that Saquon is not the best, potentially the best player in the league, or at least the most consistent, best running back. I mean, we've seen since like AP, so I go Saquon, man.
I'm going to buy into some youthful defensive linemen. I'm going to buy into Jared Verse and Jalen Carter. I know Jared Verse came out earlier in the week and was like, I hate Philly fans. Can't really stand it. And his play backed it up. I mean, like, he backed up his play. He played really good this week. He hit – what's funny is him chasing Saquon down, he hit a higher mile-an-hour run than what Xavier Worthy has ever hit this season. So, and Worthy's like the fastest guy in the league.
He was hauling butt.
That's nuts.
And Jalen Carter, 2 sacks. He was double teamed or triple teamed at least 70% of the game. Like, he was playing really well. So, yeah, I'm going to buy into youthfulness at the defensive line.
Solid.
And let's go into sells. What do we want to sell off on?
Playoff Lamar.
Piggybacking on that one, playoff Lamar. Yes, sir.
He did hold on the Ravens last week, so I think it's only fitting to shift it into the gears of what would happen next.
Yep.
Going with what I touched on. I'm just ripping the Band-Aid off.
Gone with the wind.
The refs in that Chiefs game were borderline criminal. Not even borderline. They showed themselves the world of what they've been doing all season on a national audience.
By the way, I just saw this. Joe Mixon got fined by the NFL for saying, what's the point of football when every 50-50 call goes towards the Chiefs?
Will Anderson also had a really
crazy
comment. He's like,
what about Jameson Williams, man? He was humping the field. I mean, that's like a diabolical fine. We need to know what happens there.
No, that one was nuts, dude. That one.
Field might be pregnant. Who knows?
It's bad when your teammates have to be like, yo, we're not doing stop.
I'm pretty sure he went on all fours the one time and lifted his leg up as if he was like peeing on something. So
no, that was crazy. And you know what? That is the most Jameson Williams thing I could ever imagine. So good for him. Don't change Jameson Williams. Well, actually, maybe do, because you keep in trouble with the NFL. But that was. I don't know if I've ever seen teammates act so fast to stop a celebration.
He didn't actually say that. He got something he didn't say. That's what all the report for that was.
Oh, well, that's even crazier.
Jeez. For something someone else said.
Oh, the report was, hey, I was standing next to him the whole time. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
Well, that's even crazier that Joe Mixon got fined for something he didn't say.
Things that make you go,
That's interesting.
My sell is going to be on the Texans. I'm really tired of them being on my TV screen at 4:30 on a Saturday in January. I'm really over it.
So it's not the Texans, it's the scheduling.
No, the Texans own that time slot. 4:30 wild card weekend. It's always the Texans. You go back through history. It's always the Texans at 4:30. It's ESPN, CBS. Oh wait, NBC had them for 2 years in a row when TJ Yates, who won the very first playoff game for the Texans, was there. Yeah, I'm over Houston and being on my TV screen at 4:30. Take a good nap instead. What about these sells, Dom? What are you looking at selling?
Oh, I piggybacked playoff Lamar so hard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You went Jake on the sells?
Yep.
All right. And what are we holding on to?
I don't know what you hold at this stage.
I'm going to hold on to those Texans that you were just mentioning. I'm impressed with the fight that they showed the last few weeks of the season for a team that has very much disappointed. C.J. Stroud has a sophomore slump of a season. The injuries and the fact that they could have won in Kansas City. They won a playoff game where they were doubted against the Chargers. I think the holds for the Texans, Let's see if they take the jump that I thought we all predicted this year. If they do it next year, I'm going to hold on to the Texans.
You know what? 2 segments in a row. I'm going to piggyback off of Colton. I'm also going to hold on to the Texans because I was such a big advocate pre-season. Like, yo, I'm picking Texans everything. Here we go. We're going. CJ Stroud, I picked him MVP. Like, I was like, everything about last year is going to get better. And then sophomore slump as hell happened. Cool. Whatever. That sucks. We got to get back on that road. And that team's got to be good next year. So I'm going to hold on to the Texans for next year. Well, let's see it back. I'll train back on the rails, like chugging away. Let's see it happen. So it's a good hold. I like that hold.
I think we have to hold on Matt Stafford's career because getting up there and apparently he's been dealing with a pretty bad rib injury that he re-aggravated in that game. We may have just seen the last game of a pretty solid player of our generation.
Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did get one. Just like all guys from that era are now like pretty much like Megatron's been long gone. Matt Stafford probably his last game. Like it's just pretty sad.
I was gonna say, isn't he the oldest quarterback in the league? I actually forgot about Rodgers for like a hot second.
Your brain just absolutely like
He's so
suppressed that down.
I was like 2009. I'm like, oh yeah, Sanchez. I'm like, is he really the oldest guy left? And then it's like, oh no, hey,
Your
darkness
quarterback.
retreat, darkness retreat, man.
There were 2 36-year-old quarterbacks in this playoffs. Did Atlanta make this? No.
Russ.
Oh yeah, Russell Wilson.
There you go.
Russ is that old.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm going to hold on the Lions. I want to see what they could do at the coordinator spots. I think Mark Brunell might be the next man up there for the Lions. So I'm interested to see if he can have the same success as Ben Johnson did. So, and Mark Brunell, I mean, hey, he helped put 62 points on Dan Marino's last ever game in his NFL career. So, yeah. What about you, Cole? Where are you holding out?
He held the Texans.
Man, you're out of it today. You're
I'm
tired.
I am out of it.
I'm shocked.
Dude, this weather sucks. I swear. I can't sell on the weather. I can't. Because I've been preaching about buying
Yes.
cold weather.
Thank you. You've been asking for this. Congratulations. Welcome to
Okay,
First
well,
and
I'm asking for like 30 degrees, dude. I'm not asking for,
Oh, no.
feels like
This is what you get.
my balls are frozen. I'm not asking for that.
This is what you get, man. Sorry to tell you.
Okay. And here we go. Conference championship picks, whole 2 games we have to pick from. Oh my God. I don't know if we could get through all these in the next like 2 seconds. But here we go. Let's shift us up here. Let's go down here. So at 3:00 on Fox, the NFC Championship game, the Commanders and the Eagles, 3rd matchup of the year. And the picks goes as follows. I am picking the Eagles. Dom is picking the Eagles. Jake's picking the Eagles. And Colton is picking the Commanders, who could be the first ever rookie quarterback to go to the Super Bowl. I've already said the list goes with Brock Purdy, Mark Sanchez, Joe Flacco, Ben Roethlisberger, Sean King. He adds to that list of rookies that have just been there. So Colton has a little faith in the Commanders. And as someone who was really hoping for the Commanders or Rams to be the NFC Championship game so we could just call it the Will Bowl, I'm really happy you came to the dark side here, Colton.
The Billy Bowl.
It has nothing to do with you. It has all to do with Jaden Daniels.
The Billy Bowl. I would love the Billy Bowl. That would have been it.
I'm getting the show done as soon as possible here. And then we got the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs here. Earlier this year, the Bills handed the Chiefs their first loss of the year. They only had one more, and that was with their second and third stringers on the field in Week 18 against the Broncos here. Rematch of 2020's AFC Championship game. Obviously, way different. No Stephon Diggs waiting out in the field. He did that last week on his crutches and stuff. He was watching the confetti fall there in Arrowhead. And the picks goes as follows. Jake is going Buffalo. Colton is going Buffalo. Dom's going Buffalo. And I am lone wolfing the Chiefs. Or as the commercial says, because you have to watch it again, who are the chefs? We got that going there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, rounds out our show. You can follow us on all those social media platforms down below. YouTube for the Fan Network, TikTok for the Fan Network, X for the Fan _, and Instagram for the Fan Football. Next week, we begin the preview. Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. A mere 18 days away now. So it's coming. It's getting here. It's going. No Billy Bowl, but yes, it's on its way. It is on its way. As always, I am Will, and we got Colton, Jake, and Dom. Gentlemen, thank you. And to everyone, thank you. We'll be live on TikTok next week. 75-day ban there. And we got one comment here. Jay says, Commanders are going to Philly and serving BTA. I don't know what that is. Hopefully it's not anything bad, but
Belts to behinds.
boots to asses. It's my favorite John Cena prank call. All right. That's it. Tune in next week. Wednesday. Always. We are For the Fan. Thank you all. See you next time. Peace.